everyone. So today we will going to talk about the peep of the largest continent, which is Antarctica. So come and let's explore together the Antarctica. So first, let's talk about the story of Antarctica, from mystery to discovery. Long ago, people believed in a hidden land at the bottom of the world called Terra Australis Incognita, or unknown southern land. No one had seen it, but many explorers searched for it. In 1773, Captain Cook became the first person to cross the Antarctic Circle. Though he didn't see a land, he suspected a large icy continent existed. That suspicion became reality in 1820 when Russian explorers Bellingshausen and Lazarev spotted Antarctica's frozen coast. Shortly after, others including John Davis possibly landed there in 1821. By the late 18th, interest grew. In 1895, Karsten Borchgrevink stepped onto the main continent. Later, he led the first team to spend a winter there in 1899. In the early 90s, explorers like Robert Falcon Scott, Ernest Shackleton, and Roald Amundsen launched daring expeditions. The most famous moment came in 1911 when Amundsen's Norwegian team reached the South Pole first, beating Scott's British team, who tragically died on their return journey in 1912. In the 1920s to 30s, plans allowed explorers like Richard Byrd to map the continent from above. In 1929, Byrd became the first to fly over the South Pole. As World War II ended, many countries began setting up research stations to study Antarctica's climate, ice, and life. The Antarctic Treaty in 1957 to 58. During the International Geophysical Year, 12 countries cooperated in massive scientific efforts. This led to the Antarctic Treaty in 1961, which banned war, mining, and nuclear activity, promote peaceful scientific research, preserve Antarctica as a global science zone. More than 50 nations have now signed the treaty. Antarctica has no permanent population, but scientists study climate change, ice sheets, marine life, and fossils. The continent is key to understanding Earth's past and future. Despite its harsh cold and isolation, it seems with life. Penguins, whales, seals, krill, and seabirds thrive in its water. So in summary, from a mythical land to a continent of peace and science, Antarctica's story is one of courage, exploration, and global cooperation. It remains Earth's last great wilderness, protected for all of humanity. So now, let's proceed to the geographical overview of Antarctica. Antarctica is the fifth largest continent on Earth and the southernmost, located almost entirely within the Antarctic Circle. It spans approximately 14,245,000 square kilometers or 8.5 million square miles, including 1,640,000 square kilometers of floating ice shelves. It is bordered by the southern Antarctic Ocean, which separates it from South America, Africa, and Australia. It is completely isolated by this cold ocean barrier, which contributes to its extreme climate. Despite its size, over 98% of Antarctica is covered by ice and only about 2 to 3% of the land is ice-free, mainly along the coastline and dry valleys. Now, we will talk about the climate and environment in Antarctica. Antarctica is the coldest, driest, and windiest continent on Earth. Interior climate, extremely cold and dry. Annual snowfall is low, making it a polar desert. Precipitation is as low as 50 millimeters or 2 inches per year in the interior. In coastal regions, wetter and slightly warmer, with 500 to 1,000 millimeters of snow per year. due to moist winds and cyclonic storms. In temperature extremes, lowest ever recorded on Earth is 89.2 degrees Celsius at Vostok Station. Warmest month average still below freezing around 53 degrees Celsius. Coastal areas average 15 degrees Celsius to 10 degrees Celsius. Due to its thick ice and high elevation, Antarctica reflects over 75% of sunlight, keeping it very cold year-round. It also experiences strong westerly winds and long periods of daylight or darkness, depending on the season. Let's proceed to its topography and ice features. Antarctica has two layers of topography: surface topography, formed by snow and ice; bedrock topography, the actual land underneath. The continent is divided into two major parts: East Antarctica, larger, higher, more stable; West Antarctica, lower, more active, and vulnerable to melting. These are separated by the Transantarctic Mountains, which stretch across the continent. Ross Ice Shelf, 538,720 square kilometer, about the size of Texas. Ronnie Pilchner Ice Shelf, 500,000 square kilometer. Other ice shelves total about 600,000 plus square kilometers. Dry valleys, unique ice-free desert regions like the McMurdo Dry Valleys, receive little snowfall and are among the driest places on Earth. Under ice features, Wilkes Subglacial Basin, large basin below sea level in East Antarctica. Gumboot Seb Mountains, a hidden mountain range near the pole of inaccessibility. Polar Basin extends from the South Pole toward Queen Maud Land. Ice depression, the enormous weight of Antarctica's ice has depressed the land by about 560 meters. If the ice were to melt, East Antarctica would rise above sea level, but West Antarctica could flood and become a swallow sea. And now, let's talk about the ecosystem and wildlife. First, the land life. Because of the extreme conditions, land life is limited. Vegetation only mosses, lichens, and small algae in ice-free areas. Soils, thin, alkaline, low in nutrients, found only in dry valleys and rocky coastlines. Invertebrates, some insects, mites, and microscopic organisms. Marine ecosystem, the Antarctic Ocean is incredibly rich in marine life due to vertical water mixing, which brings up nutrients from the seafloor. Key species like phytoplankton, microscopic plants form the base of the marine food chain. Krill, tiny shrimp-like crustaceans that are vital to the ecosystem. They feed on phytoplankton and are eaten by fish, penguins, whales, and seals. Fish and squid, mostly small fish species. Squid and octopus, or cephalopods, are common and a major food source for predators. Birds like penguins, 7 species including Adelie penguin, most common. Emperor penguin, largest, breeds in winter on sea ice. Also Ganto, chinstrap, king penguins, flying birds like albatrosses, petrels, squaws, and shearwaters. Marine mammals like baleen whales, blue humpback, fin sea, feed on krill. Toothed whales like killer whales and sperm whales. Seals, 4 main Antarctic species. Crevator seal, most numerous, 20 million. Weddell seal, leopard seal, ross seal, southern elephant, and poor seals are found in sub-Antarctic island. According to scientific research and discoveries, Antarctica is a hub for international scientific research, especially for studying climate change and global warming. Ice sheet thickness and movement, Earth's magnetic field and ozone layer, marine ecosystems and meteorology. Here are the important discoveries. Ozone hole. First detected in the 1980s, it appears above Antarctica each spring and is linked to human-made chemicals. Fossils. Evidence of a milder climate in the past, including passiflora plants, dinosaurs, a land mammal discovered in 1982, supporting the theory of Gondwanaland, a supercontinent. Now, let's talk about exploration in history. In 1773, James Cook first crosses Antarctic Circle. In 1820, Bellingshausen and Lazarev sight land. In 1821, John Davis first confirmed landing. In 1895, Christensen and Borchgrevink stepped onto the main continent. In 1898, Borchgrevink leads first team to winter in Antarctica. In 1901 to 1913, Scott and Shackleton lead several expeditions. In 1911, Roald Amundsen became the first to reach the South Pole, December 14. In 1912, Robert Scott also reaches the pole but dies on return journey. In 20th century advances, 1928 to 1941, Richard Bard leads aerial expedition and flies to the South Pole in 1929. In 1930s to 1940s, other aerial surveys by Ellsworth, Christensen and Roney. In 1957 to 1958, during the International Geophysical Year, 12 countries built over 50 research stations. In 1958, Soviets reached the pole of inaccessibility by tractor. In 1982, Pinnes and Burton complete the first circumnavigation through both poles. And now, let's proceed to talk about the Antarctic Treaty and Protection. The Antarctic Treaty in 1961, signed by 12 original nations involved in IGY, now over 50 countries are signatories. The major points: Antarctica is for peaceful purposes only, no military activity, nuclear testing or waste dumping. Scientific cooperation and open research are encouraged. All territorial claims are frozen. The latter agreements in 1988 proposed mining agreement but rejected due to environmental concerns. 1991 protocol banned mining and mineral exploitation for 50 years. Banned mining and mineral exploitation for 50 years, emphasizing environmental protection. In conclusion, Antarctica is a unique and extreme continent, frozen, remote, and full of scientific mysteries. While it has no native population, it plays a critical role in Earth's climate system and is home to an incredible variety of marine life. Thanks to international cooperation, the continent is preserved for peace and science, serving as a powerful symbol of what the world can accomplish when nations work together. And before we end this discussion, I prepare a fun facts about the Antarctica. First, Antarctica is the driest place on Earth despite being covered in ice. It's actually a polar desert. Some parts haven't seen rain or snow in over 2 million years. Second, there's no time zone in Antarctica because at the South Pole, all time zones meet there. Research stations use the time zone of their home country or supply base. Third, Antarctica has active volcanoes. Yes, Mount Erebus is the southernmost active volcano on Earth. and it even has a lava lake inside. Third, more than 90% of the world's ice is in Antarctica. It holds about 70% of Earth's fresh water and frozen in its thick sheet. There are no other people, unlike other continents. No humans have ever permanently lived in Antarctica. Only scientists and researchers stay temporarily. Fifth, it's home to a giant underground lake. Lake Vostok lies 4,000 meters beneath the ice and may contain ancient life forms never seen before. 6. Penguins love it here. Antarctica is home to 7 species of penguins, including the famous emperor penguin, which can grow over 1 meter tall. 7. It wasn't discovered until 1820, even though it's a whole continent. Antarctica was the last one discovered by humans long after North and South America. That's all for my discussion about the Antarctica. Thank you for watching this until the end. Bye-bye!